and we toast new beginnings. So, I know I've been talking about this for the longest time, you guys, about my desire, my dream to open my very own BDSM club. Now, I first discovered this whole arena of BDSM, right? Like, I've always had a proclivity towards certain activities within the BDSM lifestyle. I just didn't know that there was a whole community for it. And it's a whole lifestyle, right? I didn't know it was a name for it. But I first stumbled across BDSM back in 2014. That's when I actually began writing my autobiographical, fictional, erotica notification gang story, right, called Dying to Submit. The next year, the following year, well, actually, rewind. So 2014 is when I discovered BDSM, right? You guys got to read my story, Dying to Submit. I have free excerpts of it on my website at danielleash.com. It is autobiographical, but it is fictional. It's erotica, and a lot of people ask me, is it real, right? Is it based on a true story? Because I wrote it in first person. And they're like, is it you? Is it you? Listen, I can't say. Maybe one day I will reveal the truth, right? The truth, but that most likely will take place in person, not online. You guys got to come to meet me in person to hear to hear the true story. But it is based on a true story. That's all I'm going to say. So that was 2014. The exact same year is when I moved to New York City. The following year, 2015, is when I had my very first BDSM club experience. I went to my very first BDSM club for my 32nd birthday, which was lit, and I did a vlog about that. Most of y'all probably already saw it. If you haven't, just search for it. I talk about my very first BDSM club experience on my birthday. Oh my gosh. Ecstasy. It's a utopia, y'all. So I had like this very awesome experience. And I think that's how people get like more deeply immersed into the lifestyle, because they have positive experiences. Now, everybody can't speak that way, right? I can't speak for everyone, because some people don't have positive experiences when it comes to alternative sexual lifestyle, right? And I've heard a lot of stories from you guys who have messaged me, and you're like, you have any tips, this, that, and the other. But thankfully, the universe has made it so that I have had, like, all of my experiences relating to BDSM have been great. Well, hold on. Now that I scan my memory bank, can I say all? But then again, it's just like, how do you define a positive experience? Right? I think everything is just, everything happens for a reason. As long as you survived it, then you learn from it. It can't be that bad, right? And especially for me, I guess it depends on your role too within BDSM, because I identify myself as a submissive baby girl, right? And a masochist. So I like pain. Not necessarily emotional pain, but I don't know, it might be part of it. It's all wired into the same neurobiological mechanisms, I think. Like, when masochists get off on pain, right, it's stimulating the pain pleasure center of our brain. And I think that same center is activated when we experience emotional pain. So that's interesting. But no, I really like physical pain, of course, in a controlled setting. And I've had some interesting experiences. Not many, though. My introduction to the lifestyle happened back in 2014. And I had a really great master. We didn't have penetrable sex, right? But we had a sexual exchange, shall I say. Everything, like anytime you engage with someone, it's an energy exchange. It's sex when you think about it. You don't have to like have sex where there's penetration for it to be sex. But I like that he was like my guide. You know, I was his protege. He introduced me to this whole brand new world. I mean, it's like I was exposed to it prior to that relationship, but it was just like in my mind, right? It was just like this virtual kind of reality in my mind where I had watched some videos online, but it like living vicariously through people online, but not really actually immersing myself into it. So I got a chance to see what that was like. You guys got to go read the excerpts from my book, Dying to Submit, autobiographical erotica, fictional, shall I say? I have to put fictional in there. More so for political reasons. So that was 2014. And then 2015, I had my first BDSM club experience, and that was great. I went with my ex, which is the last person that I was in a serious long-term relationship with. I loved it, y'all. Just great. That's like, I just think, I look over my life, I'm like, damn, I'm so blessed to have like great experiences in my life. Because imagine having a really terrible experience, right? Your first time. It would deter you from wanting to like really explore the lifestyle. You miss out on so much like of what you can gain from it. Given it's a reason why you're drawn to certain aspects of BDSM, whether it is being a dom, a master, or a slave, or a pet, or a baby girl, you know, or, you know, whether you enjoy pegging or cuckold, bondage, you know, whatever your proclivity is towards BDSM, it's a reason why you're drawn to that. And it's really unfortunate if you have an experience, especially when you're just acting upon your curiosity and it doesn't turn out well, right? But thankfully mine have turned out great. I think also part of it is me, because I look for the silver lining in everything. That's just my nature in everything, literally. So I make it a good experience no matter how it turns out. I perceive it as a great experience. Just go read. You'll see what I'm talking about. Read the excerpt. And how it's written is written as a daily blog series on my website, danielleleach.com. The story is called Dying to Submit. It begins with the blog title, Discovering BDSM. So if you find a link on my website entitled Discovering BDSM, you know you're in the right place. I have it, like I said, it's written as a blog series. So I wrote it at the direction of my master at the time. And, you know, there are series, like there are entries, blog entries, right? So you're going to have to click continue reading to go to the next page. That's how it works. So you read, you know, one blog entry, get to the bottom of the page. It's not long, though. You can really read the entire excerpt in one sitting, you know, probably less than an hour. But it's written very well, I would say. It's quick read, and you scroll to the bottom of each blog entry, and you will see a button that says continue reading, right? And you click on that, and you go. So that's how it was written. Because I can't say too much, but at the time, my master had suggested, he kind of told me, like, you know, I could, because he knew that I was a writer, so he was like, I want you to write, blog your experience. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say any more about that. So that's how that came about. That story that you guys see on my website, Dying to Submit. And yeah, the club experience was great. I was 32 years old for my birthday. I found out about it on FetLife. I was invited by somebody, I don't know. I'm trying to remember, how did I even make contact with this person on FetLife? Yo, I can't remember. This was so long ago. This was back in 2015. We're in 2021. We're talking about, what, 6 years ago. But yeah, so I got invited. I went out there. That was great. It's a whole separate video on that. The question is, would you go through that certain experience again to determine if it was pleasurable? Of course. If I gained pleasure from it the first time, of course I would want to. I mean, in fact, I really didn't want it to end, okay? So I don't want to, like, say too much. But I can say this because I've said this before, relating to that experience, which was like my kind of breaking into the world of BDSM, right? Like, I got my cherry pop, figuratively speaking. With the master, like I said, we didn't have penetrable sex. Is that a word? Right? We didn't do that, but it was like a lot of intimacy between us, psychologically, emotionally, and physically, right? He was very creative, very smart too. He was a master at his craft, and not only that, he also worked in the field too. So he had a master's degree. But it had to come to an end because I found out that he was married. I'm like, yo, I can't do this. I just can't. I can't. But he was more of a mentor to me. So that was that. But yeah, the first BDSM club experience, yo. Y'all gotta watch the video on that. That's what I want to say about that. Then I moved to LA in 2016 to complete my doctoral studies, and I had made a video on opening my first BDSM club. So this idea of me opening my very own BDSM club is not new, like brand spanking new. It's something that I've been thinking about for a long time, definitely inspired by my own personal experiences in the lifestyle as a baby girl, submissive, especially with my first encounter with my master back in 2014. That was in Atlanta, Georgia. And then my very first BDSM club experience in 2015, the year following, when I was 32 years old. So I'm like, I thought about opening my own very own BDSM club, and I made a video about this. This was back in 2018, actually, so you guys can check that out. And it's funny because my very first BDSM club experience in New York City, right, that was in 2015. I was 32 years old, right? I made that video in October 2015. And then 3 years later, in October, I made a video about opening my own very own BDSM club. So it's not a coincidence. And so it's something I've been thinking about for a while. I think also because that experience I had at the club, I'm like, why don't we have more of this? Right? And why does it feel that it's underground? It was kind of like an underground private invite only kind of thing. So if you didn't know someone, there's no way you would know about this event, because the location of it was very discreet. They didn't have signage or nothing. Yeah, but it was well organized and set up, and very mature crowd. I think it was a 25 and older crowd. Very professional. Very safe, right? So it kind of like set the template for how I would imagine I would want to, experience, an event like that, right? And it's just like it being a nice prototype, a nice example for how that type of event should be ran, because we're talking about, like, the nature of it is very sensitive. Like, it warrants a safe space with very mature people who are there, because we're talking about like an experience where you go in and it's like kind of anything goes. People are walking around nude, naked, okay? Not by force, though. Not everyone was required. Like, you just basically come as you are. If you feel comfortable being unclothed, you can. You know, if you want to keep your clothes on, you can. No pressure at all. It was just a very welcoming environment. But there were people who were completely naked. And there were people who were halfway naked, topless. I remember there was a couple behind me, black woman and a black man, I believe. I remember the woman not having a top, you know, breasts fully exposed. There were people, because they had equipment, right? And so you could, like, you know, use the equipment. I don't know the name of this. I keep asking you guys, what is the name of that device where it's like an X and you can be fixated like to that device? I don't know the name of it. I want to have the name for it. But you know, they had that. They had like paddles. They had like everything you can think of when it comes to BDSM play. Bondage equipment. They were doing demonstrations. Like, it was just that type of environment. I think they may have had a room too, because it was like a multi-level establishment. So I remember having to walk upstairs to enter, but when you're inside, they had like a balcony in the back. You can go downstairs, and there were so many different rooms and compartments and things like that. Kind of remind you of that movie Pandora's Box. So yeah, I enjoyed it, but the extent to which I went was basically, I talk about it in the video. I don't know if I'm going to repeat it here. Yeah, I'm not going to repeat that here. So yeah, like having that positive experience, I was motivated and inspired. Like, yeah, I want to create my own, because that event wasn't on a regular basis, right? It was like, because I asked the person who invited me, like, how often do y'all have these? And they were like once every 4 months or 3 months, like, you know, quarterly, right? I'm like, that's not frequent enough. You know, we need something like this on a regular. And granted, when I moved to New York, I had become friends with the former New York Times writer. He worked for the New York Times as a journalist. And he was also in the world of BDSM. That's how we became friends, because that's what our connection was. But he's very like well versed. Obviously, born and raised in New York, and working for the New York Times and being a journalist, like, he knows a lot. He has a wealth of information when it comes to the city and things to do. And he was affiliated with this organization, I can't remember the name, but they have a membership, and they hosted regular events, but more so not like that kind of event that the BDSM club experienced, but more so like workshops, educational type of events. He says it's called the Wheel of Death. I don't know if it's called the Wheel of Death. I don't know about that. It doesn't, I don't think it spins. Maybe you're thinking about something else, but that would be interesting. I think you're talking about like an actual ride, like a amusement ride. I'm not talking about a ride. I'm actually talking about like a piece of equipment that is very popular on the BDSM scene. So yeah, he invited me, and I went with him. You know, he paid for my membership, and we, you know, participated in workshops and things like that. All kinds, like, yo, they run the gamut of different topics. And that also inspired me. So I'm just like, one day I'm going to open my own BDSM club. And what do you know? I think it's going to happen very soon, because I just got touched by like a birdie. Put this in my ear. And there, I noticed, I always check out like commercial real estate in different neighborhoods. That's something I've always done. because I know that I want to open my own commercial business, storefront business. And I see a lot of commercial spaces, and in my neighborhood, I live in Upper East Side, Manhattan. Now, granted, the median income in Upper East Side, Manhattan is $122,000. That's the median income. The average income is $226,000. So you think about like the income salary of the residents here. Think that would be perfect, right? Because that's kind of like the demographic I want to target. People who are, I would say, that's like upper middle class, right? People who would be able to afford, membership, given, I open my own BDSM club. I'm going to do it. It's just a matter of when and where, and I have my eyes on this location. So for those who would like to directly be a part of it, it's going to be a membership. Very affordable though, and you don't have to be a New York City resident to be a member, but I am going to definitely target people in my neighborhood because I know they need it. I know that people have like their own private life that they live, apart from their professional life. Something like this is like very much needed just to create a space in the community for people who do live alternative lifestyles and who do want to get more in tune with their sexuality and become more sexually free. We're going to have so much fun, especially because I'm going to be the one leading it, right? I'm going to have like groups. Not only me though, of course, I'm going to bring in other people, specialists and gurus, teachers to help out with workshops and demonstrations, parties. Shit gonna be fucking lit, yo. I'm telling you, it's just a matter of when. So if you would like to stay in the know about this, I encourage you guys to go to my website. This is completely free. You don't have to pay anything to stay informed and complete the form. I'm going to tell you the link on my website. Click on where it says special events. My website is my name, my first and last government name, Danielle Leach, right? Leach is spelled Leach. Danielle. I mean, you guys see my website. It's on all of my YouTube videos. It's preset. So just go to my website, look for the tab that says special events. There's a form. Now, I created this form. This was back in 2015, right? And it's funny that I think it was like October after I went to the BDSM club because I was just so inspired. I'm like, I gotta host my own. So I went in and created that link on my page so I could gather people's interest to see who will be interested in something like that. And I already got so many responses. I also have another link similar to that one where I was getting ready to put together an actual event. I think that link is entitled demonstration tickets. Don't click on that, right? Because it allows you to actually purchase tickets, but don't. I mean, you can, but not yet though, right? Not yet. Hold your horses. So this link I'm telling you guys to go to is free. You don't have to, no obligation. You don't have to pay anything. And it's the link that is entitled special events. Now, it is a survey on the link when you go to the link. It's a survey on the form. Quick. You can do it in less than 2 minutes, basically asking for your name, your email address. And I just want to get an idea of what are your BDSM fantasies, interests. I have a list. It's just like a checkbox that you can fill out and click different things and just click submit, right? It's going to come directly to me, so I will read it. And that's just so that I can see who's listening and who's interested. Now, for the membership, there are going to be different tiers. So, You guys can determine how much those tiers are. We're going to come together and we're going to talk about it. I am going to do a survey to see what you guys are willing to invest, because this is for you guys. It's for me too, but it's for you guys who want to participate and want to see more things like this, and you don't really get a chance to. Especially people living in my neighborhood, right? So you local and you're in Upper East Side or Manhattan, even Queens, right? Queens is not that far away. Yeah, I'm talking to you. I definitely would like to meet all of you guys in person. So it's going to offer everything, all kinds of classes, everything that you guys come to me and talk about, right? With your experiences, wanting to get consultation, all of that, right? And I am a bit exhausted, you guys. I had a very long day at the hospital. I can't begin to talk about it. But I can share with you guys a funny story before I end this video. So I work as a psychologist at a hospital, and my ward is an all-male ward, right, with men who have severe psychiatric illnesses. But for me, I like my approach to therapy. Obviously, I'm my own person, right, and I have my own character, my own way of doing things, and so I like to make things fun. And I've worked with male patients before, male clients, especially even at the prison. My very first job post-bachelor's, this was way back in 2006. I was 22 years old, actually accepted a job working with children who were wards of the state of Florida, and it was a lockdown residential facility. They were all boys, sexually reactive boys, aka potential, right? They have the potential to be sex offenders, but the hopes was that with treatment, intervention, that would prevent that. But so I have much experience working with men, younger men, boys. I find it very fun. I actually prefer to work with men. And so today I'm running a group. The group is a substance abuse group, right? And it's funny because I track everything that's happening. Right? I'm always on top of things, and I'm noticing like the conversation kind of shifting from, and the patient did this, and I was definitely keyed in and aware as it was happening. Talking about, substance abuse issues, right? And we're talking about triggers and risk factors when it comes to using illicit substances and alcohol, right? And it's funny how the conversation and topic kind of took a deep caveat to it, where he gave an example of mentioning how with alcohol, if you're not careful, there would be like a lessening of boundaries with the opposite sex. He emphasizes, right? It's like how we go from, and then that evolved to like talking about sex, and I'm just like, how we go from talking about substance abuse, but I'm okay with it, right? I ride with it, right? It's funny, and the other psychologists kind of like keyed in on it. It's funny how when the conversation took a turn, the other psychologists went out. It's like, oh, you got a meeting, huh? He's leaving me in here by myself. You got a meeting, huh? I thought that was hilarious, yo. But yeah, I do like psych evals, which I love. My role as a psychologist is very multifaceted. I like to work with challenging populations, and so I think this new business venture is going to be very fun, and it's going to afford me the opportunity to just meet different new people. I like to meet people. I'm wondering though, let me know what you guys think. Do you think, because I find it difficult to attract like a female audience, even when it comes to my videos. I look at my YouTube analytics and I notice that majority of people who watch my videos are men. I think at one point the numbers were like, the percentage was like 98%, 99%. And I think it kind of somewhat shifted. And so there are more women watching, but I think it's like 97 or 90, 95, between 95 97% men now. Still relatively a high disproportionate number of men who watch my videos compared to women. So I'm wondering, when I open this BDSM club, are women going to come? How can I target women? Because just men, I just attract men to me. Will there be BDSM beginner classes? Of course. So I'm going to end this video, but I want you guys to feel free to drop your comments below on what you would like to see as part of this membership. Because when I say it's a club, it's not like the club experience you're thinking about with loud music, alcohol, and, you know, granted, music can be a component of it, but that's not the idea, right? We're talking about like a close-knit family, if you will, of like-minded individuals who have similar interests and who are willing to, you know, invest, right? Because it costs money, and this is going to be for you guys. It's like a co-op, so you're going to pay a yearly fee, not monthly, but yearly. You set your price. You choose which tier you would like to join, and obviously coinciding with the tiers would be different levels, right? Different activities, different affordabilities that you guys will have access to. So this is going to be interesting. Like, I'm definitely down for it. Of course, there are going to be some events where you're not going to be allowed to have your cell phone, no recording. But on that note, I will end this video. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Please share your comments. If you don't feel comfortable leaving your comments below, because it might be sensitive in nature, feel free to email me with your thoughts about this. Ideas. What do you want to see? Catch you guys in the next one. Love you guys. You have a best friend that will love this. You will let her know. Yeah, just tell her to check out my website. I ask that you guys fill out the form on my website, the special events tab. There's a survey. I want you guys to fill that out, because that's how we can be connected, right? That's how I can communicate with you guys about the next upcoming steps. So yes, please do fill that out. See you guys later. Oh my gosh, I was just about to sign off. Can you ask a question? You just asked a question, right? So I know you can't be from New York, because New York is like, just get to the point. Time is of essence here. Get to the point. Why waste 60 seconds to ask if you can ask a question when you could have just asked the goddamn question? But yeah, I do welcome people who don't live in New York City to definitely sign up, expressing your interest via that special events tab on my website, because y'all can get flown out. Y'all can come through. Yeah, now I want to open it in my neighborhood. That way I ain't got to travel far, right? I can probably just walk to the space. I even thought about buying a brownstone, right? In Harlem or Brooklyn. And living in the brownstone, but also having a space in the brownstone where we convene. Thought about that. But I'm like, yo, we're really going to have to develop a very close-knit tie. Like, we got to be like this. We got to be like, you know, gang shit on some coke shit. You got to have some initiation, you know, to be on that level. But I look at it like this. Like, I've always been the kind of person whose space, right, where I live has been like the spot. And I stopped that years ago. Years ago I stopped that when actually, that was back like 2007. After I graduated college 2006. So up until then, my shit was a spot. But then I'm like, nah, you're taking too long, yo. See, you ran off. I guess your question was not that important. That's like people who inbox me and be like, can you tell me more about yourself? I find that question to be so obnoxious, so meaningless. Can you tell me more about you? When y'all have access to me when I go live here, I talk, I share a lot. Not everything, but I do share a lot on my live videos. I interact with you guys, and you're still wanting to know about me. I'm confused. You're on my fan page where I have albums where I post, and I post parts of my life. You can see what's happening in my life, but you want to know. It's not that you don't want to. It's not that you want to know more about me. That's not what it is. It's that you want to engage, right? And so then you have people who don't know how to engage. You'll be like, "Oh, are you available to chat?" I find that to be awkward too. Just jump right in and start a conversation. And if it's interesting, then I'll engage. If it's not, then I'm just going to ignore. Point blank, period. But a lot of y'all only have shit to talk about. You're not talking about anything of interest to me, right? But I'm that kind of person. I try to make it clear. This is how you interact with me. This is how you engage. Just talk. Don't say, can I ask you a question? Or can I talk to you? Or are you available? That's weird to me. I can make a mean dish. I can make mean noodles. And what? Bologna? What the fuck is that? What the hell is bologna? Bologna? The way you spelled it, yo. You spelled it like below knee. Yo, you kidding me? But I'm about to go. I'll catch you guys later because I gotta eat.